screen, but she should be hidden. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. It is December 12th, I guess. And I'm finally back in New York after a very, very long and very difficult trip. Before I start, I just wanted to say that David Kustra in Warsaw needs to be called out and dragged me all the way to Warsaw, didn't allow me to play, and still has not paid back one of my clients their sponsorship that they paid for. I know that's not a pleasant topic for people, but if we don't call out conference organizers, I'm not sure how you're supposed to actually get the things that you pay for. And I don't know, I think it's not cool to rip people off. So I went to another country in order to perform, and despite my written requirements several times sent over, they didn't have me perform. So I apologize to the people in Poland that came to the conference hoping to see me perform, and it was very disappointing for me as well. But this is not a reflection on Poland, because the Polacks are cool, just not David Kustra and Justyna, the other person that was over at the organization. And then there was Łukasz Pakiewicz, I think. I'll be talking about that more in posting, because I think it's important that we avoid scammers in the industry. On that miserable note, I welcome to you my friend Josh, who I've not seen in a very long time. Josh has been traipsing around the world and giving really great talks. I think he was in Dubai, in Cyprus. He was spending some time in Australia. So it's nice to see you, Josh. How's it going? Okay, well, it's going really great too. He's totally frozen as far as I can tell. Okay, so we'll wait until Josh unfreezes, but we may as well start the show, or at least give you guys an idea of what's going to happen on the show, because I'm excited for this show. It's the holidays, and cryptocurrencies are booming, so that's very nice. But what do we do with cryptocurrencies when we're doing well? Do we want to give back? How do we use these technologies? Our guests today are talking about ways to use blockchain in a way that is actually serving humanity, not necessarily serving the interests of the larger banking infrastructures, although they're welcome to improve their processes as well and give us more competitive services. That would be fine. But anyway, Josh, is that you? Are you back with us? I guess not. Okay, great. So we'll start out with Liz. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you're back with us. I gave everybody a breakdown on what's happening on the show, but before we get started, tell us, where have you been and what have you been up to? Because you've been, giving me a run for my money in terms of world travel mileage. What's going on?
It's been a crazy ride, and just like if you can hear me right now, because the video is freezing
No,
up.
you can't, Josh. Why don't you drop off until the internet's better? Because I don't know if this is gonna fly. I don't know. We could try, but it's not easy for our listeners. Well, yeah. Why don't you cut out your video and maybe we could get some audio, because the video seems to be clogging things too. Although I've been having internet problems, despite modern times, apparently internet is too difficult. So yeah, maybe if you could keep your video off, that would be great. So why don't we bring on our first guest while we're trying to get this internet stuff squared away and get started, because Liz Reitzig is a very good friend of mine. We've known each other for, I don't know, about 5 years now, libertarian friends. And Liz is one of those people that I go to whenever I have any kind of requests about food information. And she is a food healer in a way. She's also homeschooling 5 children, which I think is bananas. And she makes a serious breakfast. But now she's getting involved with more blockchain stuff, which she was already on a project before. So I'll let her talk about that. And Liz is here representing, I guess, foodcoin.io, which is a project that she's happily been working on for a little while. And we're going to learn all about it. So welcome to the show, Liz. Thanks for joining us again.
Hi, Tatiana. Thanks so much for having me on.
Very good. Well, I'm happy to have you. We had you on and we were talking about raw milk. Remember when I was on my raw milk kick? I can't get any, so now I'm not on the kick anymore.
That's too bad. It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've been trying to make some improvements there. But anywho, you've been hard at work in the trenches. Give us a little bit of background on your work in the food space.
Sure. So, it's all based in food access and food security. So let's make sure that people can get the foods that they want, that we have the freedom to procure the foods of our choice from the producers of our choice. And for the most part, I do that in the realm of I run my own buying club here in the DC area where I source from local farms. I work on policy and legislative issues. But one of the things I constantly encounter is the challenge of distribution. How do we get foods from these outlying farms to the cities where people need them? Because frankly, most of our populations are in cities at this point. And I teamed up with this group, 1,000 Eco Farms, and we've been working together for a few years now on developing this platform for that level of distribution. Think of it as the Etsy of small farms. So people can go to this site, find a producer near them, work with that producer on how they're going to get that food, whether they're going to pick up at the farm or at the farmer's market, or maybe they're going to get something shipped. And as we were working on that, we realized, well, we can take this a step further and we can actually create a currency that's designed specifically for these transactions and bring efficiency onto that platform through the blockchain.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of action. How many people are working on this project?
Well, there's a few, there's give or take about 10. And then we have more or less as we need certain things done, and we contract with certain people to work on certain things.
So how long has all this been going on for? Because I know that you guys did a fundraising round before, and like, how long has this been in the making, so to speak?
Well, FoodCoin itself is still brand new, 6 months. Today is actually the start of our token generation event. So you can go to foodcoin.io and see what's going on there. We're all really excited about it. As you mentioned, we had a successful market research event in September, and we saw that people responded incredibly positively to this concept, to this, the development we've already done, and it's time for this. People want this.
So the token sale, whatever, I don't even know, we're supposed to call it like 7 different things depending on the day, even though it's always sort of the same thing. So how much do you guys want to sell, and like what is the funding going to be raised from? And also, you're not able to sell to US investors, right? So you guys are going outside the US?
That is correct. Yes. And how much are we looking to raise? We have a hard cap of 125,000 Ether. So anything.
So what does that translate into USD?
Well, it depends on what day it is, right?
Well, yeah, sure. Ballpark.
So I think we'd be happy with anything in the $6 to $10 million range.
Okay. And so what infrastructure is already there? And then what are you planning on using the funds for? You know, why would people donate to this versus, I mean, are there other kinds of food projects out there, or what do you think makes this one unique, and where are you guys at in the development?
Well, for sure, we are the only one addressing the local food movement and the larger community around the local food movement. So we want farmers, if like the farmers that I get my food from, we want them to be able to use FoodCoin to buy hay from another farm, or to buy farm equipment, or to work and have smart contracts with another larger distributor or wholesaler. So, but it's really the only one addressing that ecosystem of direct farmer to farmer transactions and direct farmer to consumer transactions. And it is, as you know, a globally localized movement. So you get pockets everywhere of these local initiatives, essentially. So that's what sets us apart. We're also committed to social projects. So 10% of all coins generated will go towards social projects. And we get to choose
like
based on them. Well, I don't have a good example off the top of my head, but one of the things I'd like to see us partner with is various rescue organizations for refugees. They have places where the refugees can go in their new homes where they're relocated to and work on farming or gardening in those new locations. I'd love to see us partner with an organization like that, or a mission like that. But of course, all of that is as we progress, but it's going to be something that matches the mission of FoodCoin and the mission of 1,000 Eco Farms, which is food related. But would love to talk with somebody like.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I would love to talk with somebody like Connie about other ideas for social projects that we could engage in. One of our partners currently is Bitland, and they are an organization focused on registering land deeds on the blockchain, especially in certain locations in Africa where corruption is maybe more so than reliability.
How do you get into those markets? Like, do you just do little seed projects? You know, how do you see that? Like FoodCoin in one area in the United States, sure, but how do you get it into like more kind of little satellite locations, and how do you grow that community?
You mean
and like get them to accept it?
How do we encourage users to use the coin? Well, that's a big challenge, right? One of the ways we can do that is through our platform, our initial partnership with 1,000 Eco Farms, because we can offer incentives for using that particular platform, both to producers and consumers for using FoodCoin. We can waive fees, but there's some obvious incentives, like the fees, the transaction fees will be far less. Like, I know that as a food-related business, I spend way too much money on credit card fees. I would like to see that money go to me, the business owner, or to the farmers. And I know that farmers all across the country, all across the world, are dealing with the same thing, where credit card fees are eating so much of their profit. And one of the things our coin is designed to do is keep those transaction fees minimal so that that money can go to the farmers.
My only concern with that would be based on my morning. So I spent my morning on with Kirk, the Bitcoin CPA, who's one of the sponsors of the show, also a good friend of mine, and trying to go through and properly comply with taxation laws when you have Bitcoin coming in and out is pretty much a nightmare. How would you guys recommend that, you know, these small time farmers, what if they accidentally are violating tax law? Like, how do they register that? Has that been kind of implemented, or is that something a little bit further on that hasn't had to happen, that, you know, will have to be the responsibility of the farmer? Or what do you see in that regard? Because like, how do you decide what a food coin is worth, right?
It's definitely further on. And to a large extent, it is the responsibility of the user, just like it is the responsibility of users on the 1,000 Eco Farms platform to make sure that they're in compliance, or that they understand the rules, that they're playing by the rules. And, you know, I think you can compare it a lot to Uber. Like, Uber has to follow certain rules. Human beings have to be decent to each other, right? By law. Like, you can't just go around and, like, just because somebody gets in your car, you can't take them wherever you want to take them. So it's the same concept, but also FoodCoin ecosystem, it is worldwide. So we will have to work where the most adoption happens. We will have to work closely with those areas and those governments on things like compliance on tax laws, and we will do that.
Yeah, that gets a little bit funky because, you know, the U.S. I've been really surprised at how aggressive they are with people that, even if like you touch $1 US, they're just, you know, they bring down the hammer of Thor to kind of bust everything up. So, but I think, you know, partnerships with different kinds of organizations who've already navigated a certain amount of the problems will be key. So, what is the timeline for this sale? And like, what are you guys doing in order to bring attention to it? You know, how can people connect with you? Do you have a Telegram or a Slack? Like, where's everybody hanging out that's interested in this project?
We have a very active, large Telegram channel. So join us on Telegram. Go to the website and join the mailing list. We communicate with people through email. And the token generation event is going till December 26th, at which point the tokens will go onto exchanges and be transferable. Okay,
very cool. So what are you going to do with all of your other activism that you've been working on? Can you integrate some of that with the FoodCoin project? Because, you know, you're always running into, it seems like, issues where there's a lot of, I don't know, throwing people in prison over raw milk and stuff like that. Like, is there any kind of way that FoodCoin can be of assistance, or is there any cross promotion there? How do those two passions integrate?
Well, that's still a part of me, that activism side, and working with the farmers who are being regulatorily shut down or criminalized. Everything is still pretty young right now with FoodCoin. So check back with me in a year and we'll see what that looks like. But of course, you know, since the food laws are so different in different parts of the world, it's going to be interesting to see how in other parts of the world, how this helps with certain transactions like that. Whereas in the US, those transactions are still criminalized for the most part. So it will be interesting to see how this evolves and how it helps farmers in how it helps farmers get their food to the marketplace, and how it helps consumers like me and you have access to the foods that we want to choose.
So Liz,
so are you
question.
keeping, go ahead,
So
Josh.
I wanted to know, why would someone use Foodcoin over like Litecoin or Bitcoin or any other of the coins? What makes farmers choose Foodcoin, and how is that economy based?
Right. So of course, one of the things with any currency is adoption and agreement. We want people to use this. And part of what we've done with Foodcoin is we've conscientiously designed it to meet the needs of the real food communities, the local food economies. So like I mentioned earlier, the transaction fees, we're keeping those minimal. And we're also going to have smart contracts. So one very tiny example of how we could use that is a farmer grows something for a specific buyer, for example. And that's a contract on the blockchain. That money goes into escrow. The farmer actually gets paid when they're done growing it. Too many times I've seen it happen where farmers will commit. They'll have a contract and everything. They'll commit to growing something. They'll grow it, and then the contractor will come back and offer them half the amount they originally offered, or offer to buy less than they originally offered. At which point the farmer is basically screwed and go into escrow.
So it's a type of future almost, where you can buy as an investor from the farmer before the crop's grown, and then at a certain price held in the smart contract. Is that right? Or?
Well, I wouldn't compare it to that. No, I think it's a real world. It's like, if I'm going to spend 9 months or a year growing a specific product, like you come to me and say, I want to buy 10 acres worth of tomatoes. And I tell you how many tomatoes I can grow on those acres. And then I tell you the price I'm going to charge. It's $2 a pound. Then you come back, I spend 3 months getting the soil ready. I plant the tomatoes. I grow them in the greenhouse for a little while. Then I transplant them in the ground. And then it's harvest time. And I'm like, okay, well, here's your first batch of tomatoes. And you say, well, actually, I'm only going to give you $1 a pound. So at that point, if I fight you to keep that contract, then I lose all that time and I don't get paid for my labor, right? And I can't just pick up and just find somebody else for that, because that's a lot of tomatoes to let go of. So in that regard, it's not really like the same as a futures, because that's betting on maybe how much tomato my land will produce. But on the other hand, I'd also like, as a producer, if I'm going to be doing this contract with you, I'd also like to have a provision in there that says, if I'm growing something on contract for you, I want something in there that says I get a certain amount, even if I have crop failure. Even if there's a drought or a flood, or for some reason the whole crop fails. So between the two parties, they can agree on that. And then I'd still get something as a producer, because otherwise then I lose everything, right?
Yeah. All the risk is on the producer and not on the buyer.
So this is the kind of usefulness that the blockchain can offer to these producer and consumer transactions. Also CSAs, which are community supported agriculture, those are becoming more popular. And with the CSA, there's a contract in place where, as a consumer, I'm going to pay you a certain preset amount for my share of what your farm produces. And that happens at the beginning of a season, usually spring or late fall. And then I get a certain amount per week. But I don't necessarily pay again unless you have it divided up into quarters or something. And so that can also go on a smart contract, and that can go on the blockchain. So it's something that the farmer doesn't have to worry where, like, do I have to get a check? Do I have to make sure that check doesn't bounce? Do I have to, if I'm paying you $500, $1,000 per 6 months for this, that's a lot in credit card fees. That's quite a lot. So hopefully with all these combined uses of the blockchain, farmers will see the incentive in using this, and it won't be something that we have to do too much convincing around. But these are real applications that add efficiency to their lives.
Yeah, and it's great that it's organic food, because I think the organic movement is quite a self-sustained small little, not small, it's quite a large group, but it's a self-sustained group. So, and I could imagine that the challenge is to get as many people to accept this currency as possible, as quickly as possible. So we don't need to go use, functions like, let's say BitPay or these sort of functions that convert back to fiat, but it stays within,
right.
the
right.
the economy.
Yeah, and that's a whole other point, right? That when you have a currency, and we've seen this to some extent with Bitcoin, when you have a currency that transacts within that community, it has the potential to move much faster.
Yeah.
Right? And we want to see that happen because like the principles and the philosophies of a local complementary currency, those currencies move really fast, which means that everybody has a higher standard of living, so to speak, because that money's passing through a hand so much quicker. It's essentially got more value.
What are the economics of the food coin system? Like how many coins are there? How are they distributed?
The coins, the final number of coins will be based on how many are generated in this token generation event.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And are they mined? What blockchain are you using? We're going to have our own, but it's initially based on Ethereum. Okay. Right.
So we will have our own. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the crowd sale's done on Ethereum and then going to bootstrap like a proof of stake style coin or something like that, or?
Yep, something like that. The technical, I would refer you to one of the founding partners on this for all the super technical questions.
Great. Okay. Well, it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, and it's really exciting to see the positive response that we've gotten from the communities that this will serve.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at futures and where they come from, they originally come from farmers wanting to, hey, I don't have money for the seeds, and you want to buy, so you can now buy the seeds up front, almost like a crowd fund, and then sell them at that price. But also gave farmers the option to short in case they did have a big problem, let's say a drought or insects come and eat everything, and you couldn't short your own stock. So if everything gets destroyed, you still make a profit on the short. But this has caused massive speculation in the commodities markets, which has also caused huge manipulation, and farmers in poorer countries starving because their whole stocks being shorted or held by institutional investors. So it'd be interesting how this whole space of food coin comes out, and how the economic theory works out. And this is, again, and I've said it before on the Tatiana show, but how amazing is it that we can test out economic theory in real life without gulags? It's fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, and of course, farming is one of those things that it's all historically it is risky because everything's going along great, and then all of a sudden you don't get rain for 3 weeks, and it's not so great anymore. So it is somewhat unpredictable, but at the same time, look at the reality of what we're living in right now, which is food abundance. So much so that our food waste, we're wasting 40% of our food that we produce, which is mind-boggling, right? And how can we use efficiency, including blockchain, to create distribution networks where the people who need that food can actually get it, or where the food is grown in places where it's most needed, and to eliminate some of the corruption that keeps the distribution from happening.
Yeah.
Very cool. I like it. All right. Well, we're going to talk about more ways to keep out the corruption. Our next guest is Connie Gallippi. We were all chatting earlier, but Connie has this Give track thing that she's going to talk about, and it kind of tracks donations. So in general, I think this transparency angle is going to be helpful even for existing institutions if we can get them to play by the rules. Thank you so much, Liz, for coming on with us. Give us one more plug. Where can people find out about you guys and connect more with you? I know you've got your blog and you've got all these great recipes and photos and content. So maybe give a plug to Nourishing Liberty too.
Sure. The coin is foodcoin.io. The platform to find farmers is 1000, the number 1000, ecofarms.com. And my website is nourishingliberty.com. Thanks so much, Tatiana. And great talking to you, Josh.
Very good.
Lovely to see you
Thanks
again.
very much.
Keep up
See you later,
work.
Liz. We're gonna bring on Connie right now. I'm pretty psyched. I just hung out with Connie in Colombia, and I'll tell you, that was the trip from hell. But yeah, and not the actual attendance of Love It Conf, because that was super awesome. And it was really great to see Connie. But I just wanted to give props. We're gonna bring on a special guest in a little while, Rob from Zencash, which is a project I've been working on. So Rob and I, when we were traveling from Poland, we basically had to travel 48 hours. It should have taken like 18 or something total. And we were stuck in Frankfurt and then stuck in Miami. And then I got to the hotel and my hotel room wasn't there. So it was really, really trying. But I just want to say, you can tell a lot about somebody from a really bad travel experience. So I feel like me and Rob and the Zen team are now completely in sync because all we did was we made jokes about the Germans the whole time. Sorry, Josh, I know you're in Berlin, but you have to get in the line. We have to follow the regulations. We cannot let you go. Get in the line. And we're like, oh, wow, okay. And I got to tell you, the German efficiency has really plummeted in the years. I'm very disappointed. I was really hoping some prompt timing and stuff, but no, Lufthansa gets a big thumbs down. I got to fight them and try and get my money back, but that was a nightmare. I hold you responsible, Josh. What say you?
No, I'm half Australian, so
Oh, okay, fine. Well, let us go this time. But anyway,
no, it's true. It's funny. Like you walk around across the street, if it's a red light, people will just pull you up on it. You can't just walk across. It's a red light, and you're like, dude, it's 3 a.m. There's no cars. Use your eyes.
Yeah, they were very interested in that, and then they kept us there as hostages, and they took our bags, and they wouldn't let us leave, and then they plied us with like GMO Kit Kats and stuff. It wasn't that good. It would not have passed the food coin test in terms of nutrition. But Conchetta, my darling friend, you and I have been friends since my first real Bitcoin event. There was a few other Bitcoin events that I did, but me and Connie met down in Buenos Aires in 2013, August. No, it wasn't August. That was when I first bought my Bitcoins. Anyway, 2013, we were down in November. No, it was December. I know it was. Anyway, the point is that I unveiled the Bitcoin jingle and you were videotaping it for me right in the front row because we were fast friends. And one of the things that I really like about Connie is that she has a great passion for helping humanity. And I like to think that we have that in common. And you had the first really OG Bitcoin charity. So tell everybody who's been living, who's maybe a little bit new to Bitcoin, what the heck is BitGive, and what have you done in the past 5 years while you've terrorized yourself into like serving the public?
Yeah, that's a funny way of describing it, but yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, it's fun to think back to that time when we first met. It seems like yesterday, but it was 5 years ago, which is crazy. But yeah, so we started BitGive in 2013 in July. So we're coming up on our 5th year anniversary, and we were the first official Bitcoin and blockchain nonprofit. We received the 501c3 status from the IRS here in the US, which basically gives us a tax exempt status. And that was really exciting because we received that in 2014. And back then, I mean, people still have no idea what's going on with Bitcoin, but in 2014, it certainly wasn't something we expected the IRS to just rubber stamp. So that was really exciting. And our focus has been since day one, leveraging this tech for charities and nonprofits on a global scale. And early on, we started out with really simple things like just outreach and education about what is Bitcoin, how does it apply to the nonprofit sector, why should they care? And then raising funds for charities in Bitcoin. And we actually developed some relationships with some of the most mainstream large entities like Save the Children really early on. And we were able to bring them into the community more directly. So instead of just raising funds for them and giving them Bitcoin, they decided to take Bitcoin directly, which is a huge deal for an organization of that size. And this was also back in, I think, 2014, so really early. And then the last few years, we've been focused on taking it to the next level. So we developed a Give Track, which we just launched about a month ago. And it's our MVP for donation tracking on the blockchain. So we're pretty excited about that. We have a pilot project up there right now with the Water Project. And You can go there today, make a contribution, and actually watch how your funds are being spent by the nonprofit. And we've also pulled in a pretty robust reporting system as well. So it's not just about seeing where the money is going and what it's used for, but that you actually see the results on the ground. So the whole point is to really engage donors.
Could I pause you there? Like that sounds really revolutionary.
Sure.
I mean,
thanks.
in terms of, I think it stops a lot of people from donating to charities is how transparent they are. They always say, oh, well, it just goes to all the people running the charities and only the tiny bit goes to actually the people that you're hoping to help. How does this all work?
Right. Well, so that is exactly our goal, is to share that information, right? And to provide a way for nonprofits who are willing and able and happy to do so, to have a platform to do it. So GiveTrack is right now an MVP. So it's pretty simple. When you go, the URL is givetrack.org. And when you go there, you'll see it's pretty rudimentary. It's an MVP, but basically we have real projects and real action on there, where you can contribute to a project in Kenya with the water project. Once you make a donation, then you can actually track where it is going. We've had a lot of people ask us, like, hey, how do I see what's happening with the funds? But they didn't actually donate to the project. So it's donation based, right? So you're actually watching your contribution and what's happening to your contribution.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's
and
really
we do
cool.
have like a more general way for everyone to follow the project, but it's not tied to a funding transaction, of course, right? So there's a sort of like a progress bar at the top of every project, and it explains where the project is, and as far as if they're raising funds or if they're implementing the project or if it's been completed or not. And there's a way for the charity to send updates and report on the progress on the ground. So
I mean,
all of that is available too.
This is an MVP for charities only, but I think it's an MVP for general governance. I mean, you're so far ahead of your time, Connie, and you always have been. And I think,
thanks.
like, seeing this, I could imagine governments in the future being able to, citizens want to see where their taxes are going. So being able to track that through in the future will be also just extraordinary change for society.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of people asking us about that, and also about the for-profit, use cases for something like this. And like you said, I think it's way ahead of its time, especially in those sectors, because in the nonprofit sector, it's something that people want and are asking for, and we can deliver. And you would see ultimately an end result of improved efficiency, more impact on the ground, all of those things. And I think once we're able to demonstrate that this is possible and this tech can do this and people can see it, then the demand becomes greater for government agencies to pick this up, right? Because they're not going to be banging down the door to be more transparent. But if the public grows to be accustomed to this and we set a new standard, then you put the pressure on other entities like government agencies and even for-profit entities to use the tech to be more transparent as well. So I think we're at the beginning of a big wave of, revolutionizing transparency and accountability across many sectors.
I think it's great. And I mean, we did the same with Voltoro. We were obsessed with transparency. So after Mt. Gox and after all these different exchanges just run away with people's money or get hacked or something, we really wanted to see ways for both businesses, charities, exchanges to be able to have transparent protocols. So we worked on ours, you worked on yours. So that's really fantastic. I wanted to ask quickly about the non-profit side of things. Seeing as there's all these Bitcoin millionaires now and Ethereum millionaires and all these crypto millionaires, are you saying if you donate, that becomes a tax deduction? Because I think a lot of people are now worrying about taxes. How can they, get all these profits, do something good, and also, manage to lower their taxes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, that's that circles back to what I was saying earlier of us being a 501c3. So we're tax exempt with the federal government, which means we don't have to pay taxes on the gains that we see, and we actually hold in Bitcoin. So that's huge. But there is also the benefit to the donors, which is equally amazing. So essentially we're like a registered nonprofit, and any contribution to us as a US taxpayer can be written off of your taxes. It also can be used to essentially just offset gains, right? So if you have a lot of capital gains from the significant growth of Bitcoin, you can essentially donate an equivalent amount to offset those gains, and you suddenly don't have any taxable gains. So it's pretty cool.
Bitcoin whales, get your wallets out.
Yeah, we just we posted a blog about this to kind of lay out some of the basics, and also just not make it specific to BitGive, but that there's other options out there and how they compare. So if you go to our blog on bitgivefoundation.org, you'll see a tax blog there. And a lot of people are using like Fidelity Charitable and just contributing to charities generally. And those are great options as well and can be a tax write-off, but they convert to USD. So we add an extra bonus in the sense that we're holding in Bitcoin. So you can, offset your gains, not pay the government. We hold in Bitcoin, continue to see those gains, and don't have to pay taxes on them. So we have an extra added bonus in that sense.
I feel like there's a lot of kind of like slightly surreptitious, like you don't have to pay your taxes. We don't have to pay our taxes. What's going on there?
The whole point you pay taxes is to help people that, need services or need things can't afford, to build infrastructure. And this is the whole point of charity, is to do that on a voluntary basis. So, I think it's and BitGive has been around, like you guys have said, for a long time. It's Sean's Outpost, and you guys have been there forever.
Yeah,
and both doing amazing work. And I really take my hat off, even though I don't have one on right now. But that's how much I take them off all day long for you guys. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, there were a couple other nonprofits working with Bitcoin and using Bitcoin when we came along too. Free Aid was one. And Bitcoin Not Bombs too. They were around really early on. And Sean's Outpost just announced that because of the rise in Bitcoin, they were able to pay off Satoshi Forest. They had like a mortgage on Satoshi Forest, and it's paid off entirely now. So it's pretty major stuff. Yeah.
I like that. This is all good stuff. I think that Connie's story and different initiatives similar to that are so critical to the Bitcoin message and to the crypto ethos, especially around the holidays. I think it's really great to see this this going on. I wanted to interject because Connie, you have a various kinds of sponsorship levels for BitGive. So if a business wants to participate, what are the levels, and what is it called, like a reoccurring donor, or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, so we have basically 3 different ways you can support BitGive. One that you're referring to is called the Sustaining Donor Program, and it's essentially an annual contribution, a commitment to make an annual contribution to BitGive. And that helps us a lot because then we have some sustainable income that we know we can count on, right? And that helps a lot. And that has different levels, starting at, I don't have them in front of me, but I think it goes up to 10,000 as an annual contribution. And we have some really cool names for them, like, early adopter, innovator, Bitcoin pioneer, things like that. And we also have a membership program, and that's more geared towards individuals. So you could be an annual member just to support BitGive, even if you don't have, a whole lot to give. You can be a part of what we're doing. And then we also have just a one-time donation option. So anytime you want to, a lot of times this happens for the tax season, send us a one-time donation of a certain amount. Then of course, you can do that on our site as well.
Cool. Very good. Well, one of the, go ahead, Josh. You were going to say something?
No.
Well, I wanted to highlight one of our community members, Rob and the Zencash team, which I have nothing but nice things to say about. They were kind of looking for ways to support the crypto community in a really meaningful way. So I know that we're doing a sponsorship at Free Talk Live, which I think is really awesome. I love those guys over there. They're also sponsoring the Scott Horton Show, which, Scott does such great work talking about just it basically with an anti-war message. And I mean, I loved the episode that we did with him a few weeks ago. That was one of my favorite episodes, getting a little Middle East education. And so Zen was also super excited about Connie's work and about BitGive, especially about GiveTrack. And I really wanted to take a minute to recognize them because, you know, that's what we should do. Like when people are charitable, I mean, yeah, you should be charitable and no one tells, you know, you don't tell anybody. I guess that's one way to do it, but screw that. If you're giving up some money, you should get at least some people to say, hey, thanks so much. And so I just wanted to bring on Rob and say thank you because there's another announcement that we're making on the show. So Rob, welcome to the show. You've been on before, but thanks for joining us once again.
Yes, thank you for having me, Tatiana. And yeah, let's tell the whole world how cool we are. I mean, let's not be humble about it, bashful, right? Yeah, no, I mean, totally. You know, I was cracking up earlier when you were talking about our Frankfurt, the German experiences. That was quite a bonding moment in hell. So
yeah, and think about it. Like we didn't even really lose it. We just, you know, people are like, that must have been really horrible. I'm like, it was, but we were laughing the whole time, and you know, I got that long aisle on the way to Miami, so that really pacified the inner beast. And then Maciek from Coin Firm, and then Nelson, our friend from Argentina/Poland. So it was really, you know, it was like the La Bitconf spirit in Germany,
totally,
but just paler.
So what happened? So Zencash donated. You guys donated to BitGive. Tell us about that. What was your inspiration? And
yeah, well, okay, you can see just, I mean, the whole message of Zen is, right, we're trying to make the world better, trying to make the world a better place, one block at a time. Well, the least we can do.
Wait, what's Zencash for everybody? What is Zencash for people that don't know? Like, well, what does it do?
Yeah, totally. Zencash is one of the coolest blockchain protocols, this privacy-oriented platform. So we do a whole bunch of cool stuff in addition to being this cool high-tech privacy cryptocurrency. We have private messaging services. We're working on a private document publishing service so that we can just create this, you know, vast censorship-resistant ecosystem to try to promote freedom around the world. So,
right. So money, messages, media, anywhere in the world, anonymously. I've been working on that, so I had to just make it very clear that I like my plan. But yes, just privacy and stuff, so that's always good. But yeah, I mean, you guys are very kind of community motivated. You've got a really active community. So then you heard about BitGive from me, and then
yeah, and
you're like, we can't resist. We have to support Connie.
Exactly. We were just drawn to this project, and that's basically how it happened. I mean, you could see like sponsoring Scott Horton's show, BitGive. I mean, we want to make the world better, and what better way to do that than to find people actually actively out there and making it happen? So, you know, supporting was just a no-brainer for us.
Well, we're really happy to have you. Thank you.
Well, so not only did Rob and the team at Zen donate the $2,500, we're doing an additional benefit to BitGive. And that is if anybody donates Zen, we're going to put the address down below. If anybody donates Zen up to $2,500 USD value, Zencash will happily match that donation. So if you guys have any Zen or any Bitcoin and you want to, I don't know if we're just doing Zen, I think. I don't know. But anyway, up to $2,500, we're sponsoring a matching program. So this way, Connie and the team would, I guess, the best that they would get is $7,500 worth of Zen. And I think that's a lot. So, but that's only going to happen if people donate. So if you guys are going to just sit on your laurels and, you know, collect your little Zens, I'm not going to say I didn't do well with that purchase earlier this year. You gotta donate it to Connie, and then, you know, Zencash will match that donation, and then we can kind of bring more awareness to BitGive and also to GiveTrack, which I think at this point we all agree is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So what are you going to do with what projects are you working on at the moment, Connie, to you know, deliver this money to?
Good question. So, well, on GiveTrack right now, we just have one pilot. I mentioned the other one we had to put on hold because of the Indonesian regulatory environment. So the project that's live right now is in Kenya, and it's for a school in Western Kenya. And they're putting in a rainwater capture basin new clean and fresh latrines. They have you can look on the site and see all the problems they're facing with their current situation. And then they're also doing some sanitation training so that the kids understand, you know, not only do they have new facilities and clean water, but how to maintain that for their own health and sanitation. So that's the one project. And then we're about to put up another one that's in India with Medic Mobile to replace the one in Indonesia. So that's not quite live yet, but I'm hoping to have it live soon so we can benefit from the holiday season and hopefully the Zencash campaign. It's more of a generic campaign for their missions in India. That basically what Medic Mobile does is supports healthcare workers with that are volunteering. They support them with mobile technology and open source technology to significantly increase their effectiveness of helping essentially manage the health of many, many folks in like the most remote areas of the world. So in India, this would be villages in India that are using their technology to support health. So they have a wide range of things they use the technology for, but that's the basic idea. And it essentially increases the efficiency tremendously because without mobile phones and open source technology, they're doing everything in person, on paper, walking to talk to doctors and hospitals, which in some cases can take days. And people's health suffer in the meantime. So the phones allow them to collect data, upload it to common databases, and also call and speak with doctors and hospitals without having to do everything manually and walking really long distances. So it improves a lot of things, not just efficiency of the system, but obviously in the end game here, you know, you have much healthier people when you're able to serve them with more efficient systems.
That's fantastic. Just folks, you know, while we're here, you know, everyone talks about hodling, holding on, just hold on. But I really like the concept of rehodl. So spend them, move that currency around and buy them back on the other end. So give it and buy some back. So you're still holding, but you're actually moving this as a currency. You're helping the ecosystem grow, because without helping the people that accept this currency, without actually building that network effect out, we're sort of standing still and waiting just for speculative nonsense. But the real feet on the ground is when you rehodl, when you use it and grab some more.
Yeah, and we like I mentioned earlier, we hold in Bitcoin. So the majority of our assets are held in Bitcoin, and then we cash out as needed for different expenses. And if charities don't accept Bitcoin, we'll convert for them. But in many cases, we're contributing in Bitcoin, and they're using services like BitPay or Coinbase to convert the funds. In many cases with charities, they're converting the funds because they have work to do and they need to go get it done. You know, people's lives are depending on it. So, yeah. And then we also actually pay a lot of people in Bitcoin if we can. So like our, you know, contractors and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I bought some raw cacao off a guy in Guatemala over Skype with Bitcoin, like a while, like ages ago, like in, I don't know.
Raw cacao? And, what the heck is that?
Raw cacao, just raw chocolate, you know, straight from the bean.
Raw cacao. Okay, I'm like,
yeah.
All right, sorry.
And it was great because he rang, because he was like, no, and I slowly convinced him. He's like, I need it to like pay the farmers and stuff. And now he's sitting on like, you know, $2,000 or something from this, like a couple of, you know, little things of cacao. So, and he's like, man, and he's getting all his farmer friends to start accepting it. So this is how it sort of starts working, right? We need the feet on the ground, and that's why the rehodl concept is really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's like kind of a little bit what happened with the Andreas thing, right? I mean, I guess Andreas had gotten, there was like an issue online. Roger was like, I don't know, poor shaming him. I don't even know what happened. It didn't look good though. But it was a really great thing that happened to Andreas, because Andreas, you know, when thank you, Andreas, hashtag. I haven't gotten a chance to make my own post, but Andreas is one of the most formative people in the crypto space. And when he was going around telling people about it, he would send them a little bit of Bitcoin. So I bet you a lot of people are rich just because Andreas gave them a little bit of Bitcoin, and then he ended up getting a bunch of donations. So, Connie, you're so pathetic. You don't have a lot of Bitcoins. Yeah,
yeah.
So maybe that'll happen now. Everybody should donate to Connie because I'm the evil overlord, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe that effect should have been a little bit less transparent, but that's my best.
Are you
that's
poor
my best
shaming me?
attempt.
She's poor shaming me.
Yes, I'm trying to poor shame you. Yeah, so then everyone will feel bad for you and donate to BitGive, and then they'll be like, "I'll be like the villain."
That would be awesome.
That's my whole point.
Yeah, personally, I don't have a lot of Bitcoin either. I mean, I committed to running a nonprofit, right? It's a startup. It's a nonprofit. I mean, there's not a lot of extra money.
Everybody thinks
to,
I'm
buy
rich
Bitcoin.
now.
I know.
Totally. That's how I feel about it.
I'm like, guys, you know, I quit my career and started a nonprofit. How do you think I have money to buy Bitcoin? Like, you know,
it's like
I did.
I watch all my Bitcoin dwindle as I spent it.
Look, the important thing is that you know, and I tweeted this out the other day. It's all about decentralization of power, the separation of money and state. These sort of concepts. This is why a lot of the early adopters got in. It wasn't some big let's get rich scheme. And you know, the people that are coming in now are coming in purely because they're seeing these mad gains. And the community's grown enormously, but so has the motivation for holding Bitcoin. And I think a lot of the early adopters that were in there, especially through the 2013 dump, it was very hard to hold. You know, as you saw your savings go down to, you know, 90% down, and you had to pay rent and mortgages or whatever you had, kids schooling, whatever you had, and you know, there it goes. You had to move it. You had to spend it. But so yeah, but the community is definitely changing as we're moving forward.
Yeah, when it dropped, it stayed there for a long time. So I think that was the really tough part, right? So people who made it through that, and it's now like soaring, is, you know, it says a lot. But that was, man, I remember because when we launched in 2013, and then we saw the big spike, and then we saw the big dip, and then it just sat there forever. And that was tough for BitGive just starting out. So
yeah, what are you guys doing in terms of security, and how does that work for people that are donating?
It is a good question. So we have a couple different things. So for our main account for BitGive, we funnel as much as we can. We funnel through BitPay, and then it automatically is sent to a multi-sig wallet. So it's highly protected. I've had a lot of people try to hack me and port my phone and all this stuff because they think I have money, or they think BitGive has money, but there's no way they're going to get it because it's in a multi-sig account, right? So that's locked up. And then for GiveTrack, we have separate wallets for each of the charities, and they own the wallet themselves, because we as an entity, if we were receiving the funds on their behalf and then transferring them or converting them or anything like that, it basically triggers the money transmitter and the money services business licensing in the US, which is not a problem unless you have millions of dollars to get the licensing, right? So for us, we designed around that. So the charities own the wallets themselves. The MVP is using blockchain wallets. So they have the security of their own, and we are accessing it via API and the XPub to be able to track the contributions on the platform.
When you say blockchain wallets, you mean blockchain.info?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, their API was really great for the MVP, so we could easily build on that. We also tried to use the Coinbase API, and our developers loved it, but we couldn't test on it as we were building, so we had to abandon it, which was unfortunate. But as we build out the platform, we'll have other options, so you won't have to just use blockchain. But for the MVP, we had to keep it pretty simple, though.
Well, this is rock and roll, guys. This is what Christmas is all about. We got good, healthy food. We've got giving. We've got Bitcoin. We've got good friends. There's really not much more that we could ask for. So I think we have to end this show on a high note. I want to send people over to foodcoin.io. Check out Liz's project. She's at nourishingliberty.com.
Very good.
Rob is off the screen. Wait, Rob, tell us really quick what's happening with Zencash. If people want to find out more about Zencash, where do they go?
Yeah, come check out our website, zencash.com. Pretty simple.
Oh yeah, that's the new site. It was zensystem.io now, but we're very advanced. Zencash.com, baby, all the way.
It's still just
and yeah, there's
there,
some. What's a secure nodes thing? People can set up their own secure nodes and earn Zencash, right?
Oh yeah, totally. That's our big.
Good. They can donate it to Connie right away.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Zencash and just donate it right away. Totally. Yeah, we're going.
Yeah.
Live
Well, they've
with
only
the
got until the 25th.
Friday.
Okay. Very good. Well, all right, folks. So, if you're watching this show, it's the 12th. So on the 15th, the secure nodes will be live. But you can donate now to BitGive, support GiveTrack, support Connie and all those poor kids in Kenya while you're enjoying your nonstop alcohol cheese fueled holiday season. Remember, not everybody is so lucky, and you don't want to give your money to the war power. So give it to Connie. Thank you, everybody. Josh, any final words? Any Vaultoro plugs before we go? Conchetta, do you have anything to say to everybody besides how happy you are to have hung out with us today?
I just appreciate being on the show. It's been a long time and just meeting all of you. And we're very grateful for the support from Zencash and excited to see how the matching campaign goes. And we may have some also new exciting news as the week goes on. So be watching our social media channels.
Fantastic.
Okay,
yeah,
very good. I wanna know what these secrets are.
Yeah, I want to know as well. I'm already
Josh?
subscribed to the Twitter. Yeah, look, if people want to stay in touch with me, I'm at Vaultoro, constantly tweeting about Bitcoin and stuff. If you've got some mad gains that you want to take off the table but not put it back into filthy fiat, and you want to store it in another asset, in allocated gold off of our balance sheet, so not even liquidators could touch your asset, come and check out Vaultoro.com and yeah, and
don't let them touch your assets.
Yeah.
Sounds so stupid. Sorry. All right, good. Very good. So Zencash.com, foodcoin.io, Vaultoro.com, BitGive, foundation.org givetrack.org, and you guys can hang out with me at TatianaMrose.com or check out my marketing media stuff company, cryptomediahub.com. We're putting up a new website in the next couple days, so that's very exciting stuff. But all right, well, thanks everybody. We'll see you on Friday. We're gonna have someone from Salt coming and talking about that because I want to know how to make money off of my crypto beyond the money I'm making off of my crypto. And we're going to also have Carrie DePhillips, who's one of our partners at the Content Factory. And she's going to give us some tips and tricks on how to make your cryptocurrency successful from the pros. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye. Thanks, everyone.